Now, it's our time to officially welcome Dr. Ingrid Salle Santa Maria to the DLSU Libraries and to welcome her collection to its new home. So for those remarks of circumstance, a big round of applause please for Dr. Ingrid Salle Santa Maria.
Thank you for the kind words, Miss Christine and Miss Janice. Brother Ray, Suplido, DLSU officials, friends and family, good afternoon. It is such an honor for me to be here before you today on this very significant occasion. An anonymous author once said, and I here quote, "Your purpose in life is to find your purpose and give your whole heart and soul to it." As a 5-year-old, my mother, Pilar Blanco Salle, gave me my first piano lessons, with which I obediently complied. At age 10, I gave my first solo recital, then called the premier recital, something every budding pianist aspired for. At that recital, I clearly knew what I wanted to do in life, to be a performing pianist on stage. I had found my purpose. Between that premiere recital and today, there are nearly 7 decades. 7 decades of my giving my whole heart and soul to my purpose. My whole artistic life and activities have been adequately, perhaps too excessively, chronicled in all manner of media. Newspapers and magazines, coffee books, other than my own, radio, television, and now more recently for a decade on YouTube. This probably could be attributed to the fact that in our country, as in most, it is customary to announce and comment on artistic, cultural, and musical happenings. And truth to say, I have given 1,000 or so piano performances here and abroad in the past 5.5 decades, officially since 1962. The sheer number of performances then would account for the voluminous amount of newspaper clippings, magazine interviews, concert programs and posters, hundreds of appreciation certificates, and some awards and plaques of recognition. All these, not to mention my passion which extended to collecting miniature pianos, and there are a few hundred of these too. The past few years, I have been organizing and collating these materials in the spirit of documenting how this life I was privileged to have and live was in fact lived. With the help of several friends and associates, we have been able to condense our collections into several categories of big, hardbound books as follows. For example, we have the 5 red ones there, which are about Salle Foundation, Cebu Youth Symphony Orchestra development, and Peace Philharmonic. And 4 pink, outlining my about 400 or so performances with Professor Reyes during our romantic piano concerto tours. We have also been able to produce 4 coffee table books. My 4 seasons there, the CYSO story, the Peace Philharmonic Philippines, and romantic piano concerto story tours. A 5th and final one is envisioned for the immediate future, perhaps to be named the Eternal Spring, maybe because the first one was my 4 seasons. So the final one may be Winter Clubs or something like that. Apart from the printed word on the auditory side, besides the hundreds of live concert recordings, I felt compelled recently to produce official digitally recorded discs of some major piano concertos. This endeavor resulted in the recording of 11 piano concertos with the Manila Symphony Orchestra. They are contained in 6 discs. Samples of them are here, part of the donation. After this, I went to the Cultural Center of the Philippines and requested for copies of 6 concertos, all different from the previous 11 that I had performed there over the past decades. I had these 6 vintage recordings remastered to enhance their sound quality. Then, of course, there are the hundreds of videos I have from so many other concerts both here and abroad, many of them now uploaded on YouTube on my 2 channels. 10 years ago, I discovered YouTube. I found out we could upload any number of videos at no cost. YouTube then became my new world stage online. My original channel, the Ingrid Salle Santa Maria channel, has some 900 subscribers and over 300,000 views worldwide. Mid-year last year, I decided to open a second YouTube channel, the Dr. Ingrid Salle Santa Maria channel, starting with the officially recorded concertos with better sound quality. Additionally, in this new channel, we have been allowed to upload whole concertos as opposed to 10-minute segments allowed 10 years ago. This makes it more convenient to view whole programs instead of cut-up versions, as was the case when we started 10 years ago. So, wading and wallowing through all this memorabilia for years, it has now come to the point of my seriously thinking of a good way to conserve all these for the next generations, possibly and hopefully for inspirational purposes. Surrounded by Lasalites all my life, my husband Joe, his brothers and other family, my son Joey, daughter Cecile, son-in-law Arcelia, 7 of my grandchildren, and myself being an honorary Lasalite, I looked to De La Salle University, Taft, one of the most revered educational institutions in the whole wide world, to help me conserve some aspects of my so-called memorabilia collection. I would like to think that this would align with St. John Baptist de La Salle's vision of completing and enhancing one's education with the knowledge and love of the arts, culture, and music. As someone once said, while it is well enough to leave footprints on sand of time, it is even more important to make sure they point to a commendable direction. During the intensive and extensive Salle Foundation 10-year music development program I spearheaded, my biggest personal sacrifice was not to perform on stage, so that I could totally focus on producing excellent young artists. I felt that if I succeeded in doing this, I would have multiplied myself 100-fold. This, indeed, all modesty aside, would make my footprints point to a worthy destination. And I honestly feel that St. John Baptist de La Salle would smile and see this endeavor as an extension of his holistic philosophy of education. With this hopefully aligned educational aspiration then, I wish to donate this modest representation of a purposefully lived life in an earnest wish that those whose lives this will touch will be inspired to fulfill their own fullest potential, not necessarily in music, but in their own chosen fields. I would wish for these young adults to aspire to make a difference in their lives and in our world because they experienced a torch lighted at De La Salle University like this. Brother Ray, I hereby turn over this collection to you, to De La Salle University and to anyone who wishes to help us in wonderful libraries to share them. Thank you for leading and lighting the way, Brother Ray. Animo, that's all.
Paul and Brother Ray and Ms. Christina Abrigo of DLSU Libraries. Let me just read the citation. Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Dr. Ingrid Salle Santa Maria, the donor, as a way of expressing gratitude for having transferred ownership without remuneration of 90 volumes of books and audiovisual materials, in consideration of her generosity and liberality to the De La Salle University through the libraries, the donee, who accept such transfer as shown by the printed name and signature of its authorized representative below, given this 21st day of January 2019 at the De La Salle University, Taft Avenue, Manila. Signed, Ms. Kaishan L. Fernandez, Associate Vice Chancellor for Academic Services, and Ms. Christine M. Abrigo, Director of Libraries.